welcome to another episode of Carolyn Talks Television. I'm Carolyn Topol, and this is my amazing co-host, Rachel Arnett.
Hello, hello.
And today we have a very special show for you on a very special theme. Now, if Rachel wasn't here, we could definitely not do this show.
I don't want to agree with you, but I sort of agree.
Yeah. And Rachel could only say that because she loves me, and she knows even with a pitch pipe and a pitchfork, I still couldn't start a tune, because today we're going to be talking theme songs.
Ba-da-ba-ba-dum-bum.
Boop.
See, some tunes just stick with you.
That's right. That's right. And even from the very beginning of television, theme songs or theme tunes have really become connected with shows. They really were identifiers. For example, I think way back to things like A Leave It to Beaver, where while there was not words to the tune, when that tune began in one or two notes, you knew Leave It to Beaver was coming on the air.
Yeah. And I think even back to radio broadcasts that were kind of the precursors to modern or older television shows and led into contemporary, even with radio broadcasts, they would have some kind of introductory music, usually like 10 or 15 seconds long. Do-do-do-do-do. Introducing the Power Hour with Tony Mazzoni.
There you go.
But even that, like, it had its own little theme song. You knew it was coming, and it kind of got you set.
And frequently, it started back then with jingles.
Yep.
Jingles put on by the sponsor.
Yep.
And you knew what was coming on, even when you couldn't see it, and then it just added to it when it was now visible on TV. One of the things that is so apparent, though, was the evolution. The evolution of theme songs, because what began as an identifier tune actually became a theme song for many shows, so integral to the show that it actually gave you backstory.
And you can't even really separate it from the show.
For example, the writer who did the Brady Bunch and also who did Gilligan's Island decided to do those theme songs to literally give you the entire story of everything that happened in these people's lives until the moment the show begins.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's great because especially shows back then, you wouldn't have DVR. They wouldn't be replayed. So you may miss an episode. And series did not always go back to back as far as the plot carrying through. So it was a great way to reintroduce someone or just to get a new audience member aware of what the backstory is without the whole rigmarole of last episode, because it's not relevant anymore.
And the interesting thing is, they were so significant. Theme songs were such an integral part of TV. There was an Emmy Award for them.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. That's cool.
There had been Emmy Awards for Best Theme Song. And that, of course, disappeared along with theme songs, because very few shows now really have identifying theme songs.
It's interesting. Some shows are coming back with theme songs, but they're only showing you the entire theme song, the first episode. And then after that, you maybe get like 15 seconds. Even on some Netflix shows and things like that, they have you watch it the first time, and then every next episode, you have the option to skip the intro.
Yes, that's right. I remember the first time I watched certain shows on Netflix.
I just think of like Orange is the New Black.
And it specifically says, skip intro. Skip intro. And I thought, oh, I can do this?
Which just made binge watching.
Yeah, really.
Not
only that, skip intro and then hit next, and you could watch 4 shows and you'd cut out like 10 minutes right there.
Yeah.
It was fascinating that you can do that.
And contemporary shows really don't focus as heavily on theme songs. The ones that do still, I think, are the sitcom approach shows where it's that same kind of idea of you don't need to see the previous episode to understand what's going on in this one.
Now, one of the more recent theme songs, I'm going to work backwards a little bit, because I think everybody would be familiar with this, actually became a hit on the radio, which was the Friends theme song by the Rembrandts.
Well, it's funny because I have students who have never seen an episode of Friends ever in their life, but there was actually a TikTok meme that started where they would try, like the whole point was try not to clap. And they played the whole doom, doom, doo, 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 doom, doom, doo, doom, doom. And the kids were like sitting there. And my students who have never seen an episode of Friends know that theme song. And I just think it's funny because certain theme songs take on their own life outside of the show.
Shaft was another one, just the music of Shaft.
Yep. Well, I think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh.
Zachary, my 6-year-old, knows the words to that song, has never seen a Will Smith movie. I don't think maybe he's seen Shark Tale. That's like the closest.
And just for the record, because I do karaoke once every millennium, whatever.
I'd say that's fair.
Okay. And I once did Friends with a group of friends because we're having fun. And the clapping, everybody in the room clapped with us.
Even people who aren't paying attention, something like I could be having a conversation. If I hear that song, I'm going to be like, oh, I have to clap. It's just this compulsion takes over you.
So going back, let's start with one of the most well-known theme songs ever. This is one that was one of those that you got the entire backstory in one theme song and it played every episode. And we start, it's
the Brady Bunch. Here's a story of a man named Brady. I'm sorry, I'm very young. No, and then there's the story of the lovely lady who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls.
And
all of them had hair of gold, like their mother.
And you get this whole backstory. You know, Dad has 3 boys, Mom has 3 girls, and they made a family, and it became known as the Brady Bunch. Now, I challenge any of you to have not thought about 9 little cubes when we just talked about that with heads in them.
You can start to see the theme song and the visuals that go along with it.
Because the visuals went with the theme song, and it became so memorable. To this day, the Brady Bunch, in my personal opinion, is a cult classic. I don't think it has ever not aired somewhere in the world.
Oh, absolutely. And there've been the movies that were made of it. I heard, I don't know if it's true, that there's a potential remake in the works with a more diverse cast, which I think would be unreal, and I cannot wait if that's true.
I bet the theme song wouldn't be as good.
Well, they probably have to use the same theme song. There's some things you just can't change, and I feel like that's got to be one of them.
Well, if that was the case,
Kanye West does it, but like
Kanye West doing the Brady Bunch theme.
I would like to see.
Okay, I would pay to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the things that was really smart about that show is after the first season, when they had, whatever the lot players, somebody sang the song. Starting with year 2, they had the kids sing the song, and it just added the whole new dimension to being personal. And when you do something like that, it's really meaningful. And I would bring you back. Now we're going to go further back in time.
Even further.
And I shared this with Rachel, who didn't even know there were words to this.
No.
I Love Lucy, although you knew the tune.
Yep.
And that's another one. That tune comes on, everybody knows I Love Lucy's going to be on, and we got to watch it. I only watched it in repeats, but I still remember the day that Ricky sang, I love Lucy and she loves me, and so forth.
And when you sang that for me just before the show, I had literally never heard that before in my life. So now I want to go back
and find the episode. And it was, of course, sung by Desi Arnaz. So it was absolutely fabulous. And it's going to go down forever as a piece of history connected. That tune is a piece of history connected to that show. Now, I am not 100% sure the words were written along with the original theme song.
Yeah.
They could have been fit into the show at some point. But still, from that moment on, that song had words.
Connection. Yep. Well, and I think it's interesting because I think a lot of the other shows that have a lot of theme songs now that still do are kids shows.
Yes.
And so, Zach's show, Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol, Blaze and the Monster Machines. You know, they have these play in my head all the time. I can hear the bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum, and I know Blaze and the Monster Machines is on.
Well, I'm looking at a few of our songs that we love.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, going back, because it's now over 50, Sesame Street.
Which is just...
I mean, I was not a tiny tot when Sesame Street started, but it doesn't matter. Anytime anybody could ever play, can you tell me how to get, boom.
Well, and it's funny because I don't think I've heard that theme song now in probably 15 years. I know exactly how it starts. I could probably make it, sunny day, chasing the clouds away, on our way to where the air is clear. Can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
And
it's been 15 years probably since I've heard that.
And when they walk down every year, because if anybody watches the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, Sesame Street has been in it ongoing. That tune is always pumping out.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's funny because I grew up early 90s is when I was really watching TV. And I still remember all of the theme songs from my favorite Nickelodeon and Disney shows. DuckTales, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, DuckTales had a significant song.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, aeroplanes, it's a... And then they remade it when they made the new show with all the new celebrities in it.
Right.
And I remember every person I knew freaking out because if you play that song like now at a dance for people my age, we'd probably dance to it. It just like it's built into our childhood.
And isn't that amazing that a theme song from a TV show, not just one that's sung by the Rembrandts, you know,
and
I mean, which is different.
Even people who haven't seen the show, again, like there's something about the song that became, you know, we would talk about the show.
Right.
We would hear the song. We would sing the song to each other on the playground, and it just...
You know, and right now, even if you think of some of your favorite theme songs from shows, I mean, they just make you happy.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't that happy a show, it makes you happy.
Yeah, it brings you back to like how you felt when you used to watch it and like the innocence of the age, depending.
It's very nostalgic. I mean, you know, I go back and I think about, for example, one of my husband and my all-time favorite shows. I'm sure I've mentioned this 70 or 80 times by now, but MASH.
Oh. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, bum, ba. Ba-da, ba-da. I'll go quiet so you can talk over me. Ba-bum, ba-bum.
And they do go quiet so that, and you see the credits roll.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, for anybody who may not know it or who's a little younger and hasn't seen it, that song is a song called Suicide is Painless that was actually sung in the movie MASH.
Which inspired
the TV show.
Which I, again, did not know. I did not know that the song even had lyrics until I think I was in college, and I was trying to look up the name of the TV show, of the theme song, because I wanted to add it to a playlist.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh, there are words, and they are sad. I mean, it makes sense. It certainly grounds the show.
But they actually were sad in that the words are a little bit sad, but the scene that they have them in is a mock suicide that mimics. It was a very amusing scene. If anybody's seen the movie, they think they're going to help their friend sort of commit suicide or do something, but it's almost a mock. It's very funny, and it's a mock. What is it? The Last Supper is how it's almost set up as, and of course that doesn't happen, and it's you know, everybody gets drunk and whatever happens that night, but it's from the movie. It's so familiar. It became the theme song without the words for the TV show.
And it's funny because when I picture the theme song, I picture the sound of the chopper coming in. Interesting instead of lyrics. And I don't know, even though it was not a show that I watched when I was younger, because I started watching it, I think, when I was probably in my late teens, I still have kind of a connected feeling to it. And I remember sitting and watching it with my dad. So when
and you're right. Just like with the Brady Bunch theme, you have the 9 boxes with their faces in it. When you
can't hear that song without seeing the chopper.
You see the chopper, you see the nurses running, and the doctors running to the chopper pad.
Yeah.
And that's how they told you who the doctors were. was when they ran to the chopper pad, because when casts changed, a different doctor would run to the chopper pad.
Yeah, and I just think it's just another example of, with or without lyrics, a song sticking with a show and connecting you directly to that show. Like, the good theme songs are great regardless, but the absolute best ones, I think, are the ones where they do exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're so integrally connected to that show.
And and it's funny because I remember just how exciting it was, just like when you have a best song in the Oscars. Mm-hmm. How significant it was to have the best theme song for your TV show.
I just thought of another one that's one of my favorites.
Go for it.
She was working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens, till her boyfriend kicked her out in one of those crushing scenes. Where was she? What was she to do? Where was she to go? She was out on her fanny. So over to the bridge in Flushing, to the Sheffield's door. She was there to sell makeup, but the father saw more. She had style, she had flair, she was there. That's how she became
the nanny.
I know that again. I watched it with my mom and my sister, and it became this, like, the girls in our family.
And remember, you got the entire backstory.
Yeah. And
of the character.
That was the first episode
in one
of the
song.
show.
Yeah.
And it was funny because at the end of the first episode, I remember thinking it was really funny because her dialogue is her telling us the story from the theme song.
Which is hysterical. And you know what? People stayed with it.
Yep.
And I think part of the reason they did was that was a super catchy theme song.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a little bit out of the box. It was fast-paced, but the words were clear and crisp.
Yeah. And it fit the tone of the show, the humor of it so well.
It did.
It just worked.
Another one that does that, once again, by the same writer who did the Brady Bunch, mm-hmm. Gilligan's, even before that, Gilligan's Island.
Yeah. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip. And
they talk about the 3-hour tour, and the weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was, you had the whole thing in one thing.
Yeah. And so if you're if you've never seen the show before and you click on and you're like, oh, I wonder what's been happening on the show. Oh, they're going to sit and tell me a tale of a fateful trip? Cool. And then I know everything. And then there are robots playing basketball against the Harlem Globetrotters, and they get to look at it, but it's fine.
Yeah,
every other episode makes much more sense for the theme song. Yeah,
they did go a little bit off track from time to time. Like, why didn't anybody offer to save them ever?
Never. They had all these visitors.
But that was the weirdest part. So many things happened. And that professor was so smart, but he couldn't figure out how to fix a friggin' boat, which I never understood. Yeah. Anyway, but...
we digress.
Yes, we digress. But the whole point is, you never, ever had to wonder what the heck was happening on this show when you watched it. Mm-hmm. Because you were introduced to the whole history, the whole backstory, and you're like, oh, they're stranded on a desert island. Okay. Yeah. Give me what you're going to give me today for your episode.
And then there are some theme songs. One in particular stands out to me that's totally ironic. The Family Guy theme song. Whereas most shows, the theme song tells you what it's about. That one really, if you listen to the theme song, you're like, oh, it's a family show. It seems today that all you see is violence on movies and sex on TV. Where are those good old-fashioned values? Well, not on Family Guy. Not at all. And I remember the first time I saw Family Guy being genuinely shocked at, like, the first thing the character said. But I feel like that's kind of how Seth MacFarlane likes things.
Well,
there's an irony and something of the nose at everything.
I think the modern comic loves the irony of not giving you what you expect.
Yeah.
And sort of shocking you.
Absolutely. And he's one of the best.
Yes, he is.
Writing this, it's this beautiful send-up of sitcoms and cartoons and family programming all at once, wrapped up in this insane little bow.
And if you think about it, it's the same aspect as when you have, like, the Simpsons theme song, which doesn't really have a song, but the Simpsons tune.
And I'm picturing the skateboard and the whole sequence of events in that show.
And you can, once again, every generation has their song where you even know what's happening just hearing the tune.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have words. But the ones that have words, once again, were really cultivated. The Love Boat. I mean, you knew exactly. The Love Boat will be making another run, has something for everyone, a course for adventure, and your mind on a new romance.
I wonder what the show's about.
Yeah.
I really feel like The Bachelor and Bachelorette should have one. It's like, she's dating 20 guys. She's gonna cry. Watch us on ABC. And that's it. And then, like, that would be the equivalent. Like,
Except right now, okay, The Bachelor just ended. I was not invested in it other than following it passively. And once again, this is like 2 or 3 times in a row. This show has disappointed me so much because the conclusion was like, are you friggin' kidding me? So we're not going there.
no more The Bachelor. Note.
No more Bachelor and no
Note
more.
to self.
It doesn't deserve a theme song.
No.
It doesn't deserve a theme song. You heard it here first.
I have friends that are very mad at us right now. It's okay.
But you have The Love Boat, and back around the same time The Love Boat was airing, a little before, a little after, you had Love American Style, which was a show literally of little vignettes, mini episodes in a 1-hour program of different kinds of love. And, you know, this whole song was Love American Style, truer than the red, white, and blue.
Well, and then there were actual shows that contained musical artists. So, of course, the Monkees are going to have an awesome theme song for their show.
Hey, hey, we're the Monkees.
The Partridge Family.
Oh, my
Same
God.
thing.
Yep, because you had David
You have
Cassidy.
when you have beautiful musical
And
talent
Shirley
on your
Jones,
show,
yeah.
oh yeah, you better have a good theme song.
Both of those had amazing theme songs. But one thing that happened from Love American Style was it had Love and the Family. And Love and the Family, one of their episodes regarding that became a spin-off, and it was called Love and the Happy Days.
Oh.
And that was when Ron Howard was introduced. In fact, I believe they may have actually had the actual 4 actors that played the leads of that core family. Plus, there was an older brother that seemed to disappear at some point. Who knows?
That happened a lot in older shows.
Yeah.
Like pets disappeared.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
That happened on the Brady Bunch. Their dog just like vanished one day.
And we learned what happened to him.
Oh, yeah.
He was hit by a car.
Sorry.
So he
forgot
just,
about
so they kept the dog house and they just never mentioned it
Yeah, they
again. Okay. But then we have Happy Days, one of the single most identifiable theme songs.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. Saturdays, what a day. Cruising all week with you.
So guess what the name of the song is and what the name of the show is?
Happy days, yeah.
There was no way you were going to miss it, and you got the sense that this was sort of that 50s nostalgia vibe because it wasn't done in the 50s, it was in the 70s and early 80s.
And I think the nostalgia of the show eventually became, you know, when my generation started to become the creators of TV shows, is when you started to see a lot of shows coming back with theme songs. In the last 5 years, it's becoming more common all of a sudden. Like something about the early 2000s to 2015, everyone was like, nah, whatever, no theme songs. And now, you know, I've talked about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend 100 times probably on the show.
Go for it.
And they had a different theme song for every single series, for every single season of the show. And it starts, the first one was very much like the old school one where it tells you how she moves to California, but it's not really for a guy, but maybe it is. She's the crazy ex-girlfriend. And then each one kind of gets you into where the character's headspace is. I'm just a girl in love. I can't be held responsible for my actions is the next one. And then it just kind of goes from there until eventually the show kind of ended with the theme song being created, which I thought was pretty cool.
Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmitt on Netflix.
Yes.
Which that one cracks me up because the premise of the show, if you're unaware, is young women are being held captive. It's not very exciting, not very fun. And then they are released and someone takes the news report and does one of those super fun internet things where they turn it into a song. And so they took an interview with someone and goes, Unbreakable, they're alive, damn it, it's a miracle. And it becomes, the whole theme song is like this super zeitgeisty take on the news report. And it's funny.
It is, and it's very modern.
Yeah, and it sets the tone of the time and the place.
I mean, look at, and I'll sort of tie this up with one other more, I don't want to say modern, but a little more recent show would be The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Mm-hmm. And Will Smith sings the song.
Yeah, and most people don't know that song is way longer than the initial episode. That's one of the ones I was talking about. The theme song has an extra like 2 or 3 verses.
Yes.
But the one that, if I put on the intercom at my school in West Philadelphia, born and raised, for the next minute and a half, you're going to hear the rest of the theme song from every single student and teacher and other staff member.
Because it's ageless. Everybody knows it. The kids know it. The students know it. And it's always in repeats also.
My students who did not know that Will Smith had a rap career.
Which is very funny.
Which is hilarious to me. Like, he's only a superstar actor to them. They don't know anything else.
And he was a superstar rapper.
Yeah.
Which is what's amazing. I mean, this man has done it all. And as far as I'm concerned, ever since he did Aladdin, he even did more.
Yeah.
Because being in the live action Aladdin.
Threat, like he is a sextuple threat. He can do literally anything.
Anything. Yeah. And make you believe that he can do anything also. And in a good way. He's not like a threatening person.
No.
You don't feel
But
upset.
when he's playing threatening roles, I've totally
that's different. Oh, hello. So if you were to pick one, before we say goodnight, pick one theme song you really think is like the theme song that everybody could know forever.
I think for my generation, it's got to be DuckTales. It really was just the out and out, everybody knew it, word for word theme song.
Okay, and for me, it's definitely the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, that it just...
Nobody will ever mistake it. It will be there forever. There are so many good theme songs. And you know, a lot of them were attached to children's shows. The nice thing was that for a while, at least, they trusted adults to enjoy them too. I wish they'd go back to it. I really do. And maybe we can start creating some of our own theme songs.
Ooh, I like that.
Maybe we'll make a theme song for this show.
I like it.
Ooh. We'll try that.
Carolyn talks television. That's it. Right there. We'll add some newer music to it.
And for my fabulous, fabulous co-host, Rachel Arnett, who can sing.
Thank you.
And me, who can listen.
Who can sing?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I try. I do my best.
Yes.
We both say goodnight and have a great month from Carolyn Talks Television.
Bye.
Bye-bye.